What up, investors? What up, traders? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and we are looking at the absolutely craziness of Luckin Coffee and the painful decline on the sense of a lot of fake accounting numbers and fluffing up the numbers, fabricating numbers, whatever you want to put in there, on the sense of many people are calling this a huge wake-up call on the potential other fraud risks that are out there. The idea behind this is when we're going through a downturn like we are now with COVID-19, when a lot of people, a lot of business are strained, a lot of the sinking bodies issues kind of come to the surface, and this is to the same extent that we can kind of see here with Luckin Coffee, of saying that the chief operating officer, the CEO, stands accused for fabricating numbers for 2019 sales. The stock basically plunged about 80 to 90%. We'll look at the exact number when we look at the charts, but 75% decline. This stock used to be like 55 bucks and it's trading like $5 or $6 now. A lot of people are saying that this is a huge wake-up call to regulators and investors on wanting to do a lot of businesses with companies that are based outside the United States, but they file for stock filings and IPOs within U.S. markets. It kind of goes into the article about the whole auditing system. If you're really interested in understanding more of the accounting backsides of things, where I'm more technical, but I like to understand the fundamentals of what's really happening here. My rule, like number 3, is basically if a company is being audited or saying that there is some financial mischief or shenanigans, it's definitely it doesn't just stop with one person. It just kind of spreads throughout the company. So it's not a really good sign that this is happening, and that's what a lot of people are fearful of on the ongoing potential of more bodies to come up, in the sense of more issues within other companies that are filed here in the U.S. that are actually based outside the U.S. markets. Let's go ahead and then let's just jump to the charts. So you can see here that this is Luckin Coffee, so that's LK on the top here. And you can kind of see here, again, it's a newer IPO stock that came out last summer with a lot of the other IPOs that we've seen in the last couple months. And it's just been trading sideways, kind of blah, blah, blah. And they were springing up stores left and right within China. Again, this is only China-based coffee, and if you don't know much about the Chinese culture, they're more tea drinkers. So when Starbucks landed in China, they started spreading that, kind of changed the trends within China, and more coffee was adapted to a lot of the locals. And you can kind of see this huge surge, basically in November, basically running from 20 bucks all the way up to $51. And you can see a huge little spike here on the 31st. That was in the initial downturn due to the COVID-19 stuff that was starting to come out, and a lot of people start shorting this because, again, this was due to China. So if China's closing down every single province and restricting usage, they're going to be having issues selling coffee because you have to physically go there to get your coffee. So that was a huge issue that had a huge drop, basically from the high of 51 all the way down to $26. Then it kind of had a resurgence after the reopening. People were saying that people were still going back out and drinking coffee and things like that, but then it kind of had another downturn once the stuff hit the U.S. side and more worldwide on the coming back of COVID-19, and then it kind of hit really steep selling and bottomed around $22, came back up kind of hugging the 200-day, and then just fell out straight out of the sky, basically closing one day at 25, 26, and then dropping basically to $5 a share. And let's go look at the overall change in that. That's 90.5%. So whew, I think they lost like $5.67 billion in value in just the short period of time. So basically in 3 months, losing 9% of your share value. I just want to look up. It's $4.09. Again, we can pop this out. You can see on the RSI on the daily chart. I wouldn't touch this because this is where the technical side of things really just show that there was a drop, but this drop could have been for any reasons. That could be if someone found a finger in the coffee, okay, the Wendy's chili thing, or there was a kind of outbreak for like Chipotle that had the vegetable, what was it, E. coli breakout, and their lettuce or avocados or whatever it was, and they had a huge drop. But this is a little more significant, and this is going to be a harder thing to fix, and this is just the start of potentially more red flags to come. I want to just pop this out to the weekly chart here. Yeah, it's not going to give you too much data because it's somewhat of, it's only, it hasn't been even trading for a year. Like, that's actually a good point to make. It hasn't even been trading for a year. That's just super sad. So I want to kind of look at some of these put options that were closing like today. Like these, let's say, so let's example, if I bought the at the money put at like $50 3 months ago. I'll just see where, if that goes back there. So probably making bank. Yep. Oops, I don't want to trade that. Thank you. I want to copy that chart. It was probably like a penny. Probably like it's. All right, so it didn't actually come online, that particular put. That was. Let me go back and we'll look at another one. Okay. Oh, no, period, please. Okay. All right, so let's just go. We're gonna go to the more of a monthly. So we're gonna go like April. They had to have the $50 put. So copy that and paste that into the chart here. There we go. So basically, it came out at, that doesn't even make any sense either. There's no way that was $23. And then I went down to 10. See, this is where it's not making too much sense right now, because in the sense of there's no way a put option should have been on the 31st. Well, actually, I take that back, because the 31st it did crash. We want to look something that's further dated, because if we look back to the chart on the 31st, I think they crashed. Yeah, that's exactly. They went down to $26 from $50. So basically, that option was extremely high, just starting off right then and there. Let's just go some longer dated leaps, maybe. We'll do some longer dated leaps. So maybe, let's say the 19th of June. Probably, I wonder when these came online. Probably soon after everything happened. Yeah. So basically, if you just shorted these, started at $16, and they went up all the way to $30, basically doubling your money at these longer dated options. That's only 70 some odd days out, or at the time potentially 6 months out. Again, if you knew this was going to happen, which I don't think anyone really, some people knew that were part of the scheme. With that being said, and your calls probably just got destroyed. Like, these poor calls are just probably being killed out here in April. There is, again, these are probably just, they're selling these calls for 20 cents or $20 here, selling these, collecting the premium, but I can't see this bouncing back anytime soon. We don't know on the full extent of what happened with the alleged fraud. Again, this is just alleged fraud of Luckin Coffee. It's not formally documented and indicted kind of stuff, and then they're going to court about it. It's just alleged. But with the stock price, it definitely shows a lot of bad news potentially to come. And then we have earnings coming out, it looks like, too, on the 6th. So that is Tuesday of next week? Oh, Monday. So Monday, that's going to be super interesting to see how their earnings come out next week moving forward. I'm more interested on what other folks are trading, because I know if you look at the Wall Street bets and the investment side within Reddit subreddits, you can see a lot of people were kind of pumping this up. A lot of people in 2019 were really pumping it up and saying, oh, it's going to the moon, going to the moon. And then once the new year turns around, it just been downhill from there. Potentially, you never know when the bottom is. The bottom is for bankruptcy is 0, so we're not far. Basically, an options trade here for you. You just buy a couple shares if you want to gamble that kind of way, but I wouldn't recommend that. That being said, I really don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole due to the fact of it's basically breaking one of my code red rules of if a company's being indicted or potentially for fraud issues, it's never a good sign. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, if you have any questions, please leave it down in the descriptions and I'll get back to you. Alright, peace.